Hey everybody, today I have 7 case studies for you. Each of these could have been its own video, but why do one when you can do 7? So we have 7 awesome case studies for you today. And okay, we just gotta jump right in. This is gonna be super cool. We are constantly testing stuff out, trying new things, breaking the internet in different ways. Not quite like Wreck-It Ralph, but trying to break things, right? Testing things, seeing what works and what doesn't work. And testing our own assumptions. And so some of these case studies today will test some of the assumptions we've made over time and some of the tried and true practices that we've had. Let's jump into the first one. Okay, this first study actually comes from a member of our Project 24 community. We asked them, what are things that you're seeing that are surprising and unique and maybe different from the expectations we've given you? And this guy, T-Battle, he responds, some of my earlier posts that are mostly summarizing the web are taking 4 months or more to rank. But posts where I'm taking time to do original research, creating tables and that kind of stuff, are taking 1 month to rank. So for some background here, this guy is at about month 6. He's still in the early stages, about 2,000 page views a month. But what he's saying here is that articles that are more helpful not only are ranking better for him, but are ranking faster. We've historically taught that, again, based upon our experience and actually running through the data on our blog posts, on a new website, it usually takes a post about 8 months to get to sort of the steady state level of traffic that it's going to retain for the long term. Well, what he's saying is that he's speeding this up by following the recommendations we've given and focusing more on original research. That original research has so much value. It makes your articles more linkable, which is probably one of the biggest things that's helping him with ranking, is that it's more linkable. People are more likely to link to it when they find it, organically, naturally. But also because it's unique. Google is often having to look at 2, 3, 10, 12, 20 different websites that all have essentially the same information presented in almost the same way, and having to decide which one better meets the search criteria. Well, when you do original research and present data in helpful ways, tables, infographics, for some blog posts, it just means having good original images that help describe what you're talking about in the post. When you take the time to do that, it's causing the posts to rank faster. The other thing that he says here is that it's not taking him much longer to write. He's already doing a lot of the work and a lot of the research anyway. And so by taking what he's already found and putting together a table of data, or again, putting together that infographic, it's taking him sometimes only an extra 10 or 15 minutes above and beyond what it would have taken him to just write the blog post in the first place. But the rankings are coming way faster. That's super exciting. All right, for the next one, I gotta show you this. This is super exciting. So we've mentioned this in a few different places now, especially for members of Project 24, but we started seeing this really cool anomaly happen whenever we would talk about one of our websites in a video, right? Especially the ones where we said, yeah, this website kind of flopped or it kind of failed. The first time this happened was with 7yearolds.com. Now, we've recently sold, or this year, we sold 7yearolds.com. We don't own it anymore. But when we created the website, it was a test. We wanted to see how we could do with YMYL content, which is harder to rank for. And frankly, the site didn't take off like the other sites we created at the same time. So later, we talked about that in a YouTube video. And what happened? We got a spike in traffic. Well, cool, but that spike doesn't really mean much. But what happened was, after the spike, the traffic leveled off at a much higher place than it was at before. And when we dove into the actual articles in the website, we found that the ranking position had moved. A few months ago, we had the exact same experience. We mentioned in a video a website that we wrote about 10 articles on and then almost forgot about it. When we sold all of our websites, we forgot we even owned this one because we just we wrote a little bit of content on it and then we set it aside and had our writers work on other blog posts. The website was workprep.com. Let me show you the analytics here from workprep.com. This is super cool. There's this huge spike on workprep.com. This is when we mentioned it in a YouTube video, and suddenly in 1 week, we went from 480 page views to 5,800 page views. That's nuts, right? But that is understandable. You mention it in a video, people want to go see what you're talking about. The next week, we were still getting clicks from the video. We didn't even link to it in the video, but we were just getting search traffic over there from the video. What's more interesting is what happened afterward. This steady 1,000+ page views a month, this 1,000+ page views per week is substantially higher than this, 300 to 450, 470 page views per week that we were getting before. When we mention one of our websites in a video and we get that no link mention and it sends traffic over, there are multiple things that Google can and does measure that are occurring here. We have people doing a search for that website in Google search. The fact that people are searching it signifies to Google that there's some value there. That's a phenomenon we've been talking about for a few years now that occurred to us with camperreport.com. Other things that are happening that no link mention that Google can see, and they see that the people that watch this video come to that website, is like a backlink. It's a vote of confidence from that YouTube video, even if the link itself doesn't exist. It's super cool. These are things that Google can definitely track, and there are probably numerous other signals going on that are allowing the content on these websites to rank higher and get more traffic. We saw the same thing happen with the websites that we sold earlier this year. We talked about them here on the YouTube channel when we told people that we were selling them. We put, descriptions of all of those websites up on our website on incomeschool.com, and people clicked over from them and they all got a nice boost in traffic. But then when we did this follow-up video with all of the people that bought those websites, every single one of them had a boost in traffic and a boost in revenue. And some of that boost in traffic correlated and lined up very, very well with the time frame of when we were selling these websites and when we were sending that flood of traffic over, even though it only happened for a short term. And it's paid off big for the owners of those websites. Okay, this next one is actually about YouTube channels. So for that, I got to go to the expert. Let's go talk to Nate.
I heard my name.
You heard your name? All right.
I heard my name.
Tell us about this cool study that you did with Project 24 members and with some of our own channels. I'm just super excited about it. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so we wanted to know what kinds of things we could pull out from just some very simple metrics, actually. So we just asked them for, what did we ask them for? Subscribers, views gained, subscriber watch time, unsubscriber watch time, and then their subscribers gained over a 28-day period of time, which is the YouTube analytics. And the crazy thing we saw here, let me just show you some of this. So for example, we were looking at, I'm in the back end of Channel Makers here, and if I go to Analytics, I go to Audience up at the top. This is a fairly young channel, but this metric right here, this watch time from subscribers, on this channel is about 74% from subscribers, and then the opposite from not subscribed. But what we saw, oh my goodness. So the average across all these channels was actually much more flipped to be about 11% from subscribers. Wow. And 89% from unsubscribed. So from there, this is fun, Ricky. So this is what we did was
I'm a numbers geek too, so
we kind of extrapolated a little bit here, and we did some little formulas here to figure out about how many views they were getting from subscribers versus how many views they were getting from not subscribers. And from that, we could pull out a metric, which is basically I could tell you how many views it's going to take for your channel before you get a subscriber, which was crazy. And so with this, the average we were seeing is for a non-subscriber, as many views as you get on your YouTube channel, it takes about 97 views to gain a subscriber across all of these channels. That's what we saw. But some channels are better at converting views into subscribers than others, and including under our own Income School umbrella. For example, the main Income School channel, that one, it takes about 37 views to get one subscriber, which was really low on our ratio. Contrast that with Backfire, and that one was actually right on par. It was 97 views to get one subscriber. And the ratios on those two, Backfire was 8% watch time from subscribers versus 92% not subscribed. But the Income School channel was 65% watch time from subscribers, with the opposite being true. So I guess that was a long way of saying, when you're looking at your YouTube channel and linking this right into, I overheard you, Ricky, talking about the no link mention.
Yep.
We talk about having a YouTube channel being a really good way to build traffic on your site. This ties right in, because what I'm seeing is, if you go into your backend, you look at your analytics, you go to audience, look at this watch time from subscribers thing, and you're looking to see if your ratio is really high of not subscribed. One, good job, you're getting a lot of new people in, that's awesome. But at that point, your focus could be on, okay, what can I do to optimize it to get more subscribers at that point? If the opposite is true and you're getting a lot of views from subscribers,
Like we are on
like
Income
we
School
are,
and Channel
or on
Maker.
this one is 74%. That's really high, which is awesome, because that means we're really good at turning them into subscribers. But at that point, the focus needs to be, okay, how do I get new people, new eyes to view my stuff? Because that translates into more subscribers.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the other room. This one is kind of a little bit of a sad story here. This is a case where a travel blog, around the time COVID hit in March, April timeframe of 2020, they lost a bunch of traffic, which totally expected for a travel blog, right? People just aren't traveling, and so they're not looking stuff up. All right, let me show you on the screen here some of just the graphs so that you can see. These come from Google Search Console. And here you can see total clicks have dropped off. You can see the average ranking position has dropped off, and therefore the click-through rate, which is related to both of those numbers. But their total impressions have come back over time. So people are seeing their content as often as they were before, really. But what they're not getting is people clicking through. There may be a couple things going on here. Part of it is just the time period that we're in. With COVID-19, the types of searches around travel are a little bit different. And so it may be that you're getting impressions. People are seeing your content, but maybe they're seeing different content than they were before, because the searches that are being done most frequently aren't the same searches as before. And it may be that your content just doesn't rank quite as well for the searches people are making today. Another possibility is that people are making some of the same searches as before, but your content has moved down in the rankings. This could be due to a couple things. The SERPs have been changing a lot. Google is highlighting more and more rich content. And also other people are creating content, and the algorithms are changing, and that could be impacting just your overall search ranking as well. It's a cautionary tale. If you're doing a good job at ranking well, but you're not focused on winning snippets as well, this is something that could easily happen to you. A search algorithm update or new snippets coming in, they just push your content from ranking maybe number 2, maybe the first ranking right below the featured snippet. You've been ranking there, but now you move down from number 2 to number 4 or 5 or 6. You're still on the front page, you're still getting the impressions, but you're not going to get the clicks. Whereas if you can win the snippet, you're more likely to maintain that snippet. In our experience, being unseated as the snippet when you have a really, really good answer target is a lot less likely to happen than having your ranking bumped down 2 or 3 points. All right, this next one is super cool. You may remember a little while back, we were surprised by a visit from Jeff, the guy who bought OutdoorTroop.com. One of the cool things he told us that didn't come out in that video, again, just way too much cool information to share, guys, was one of the little changes he made shortly after he bought the site. Now, he bought the site, of course, he got the no link mention, of course, he got that flood of traffic from people wanting to check out the site when it was being sold. But a little while later, after the deal had closed, time had passed, he made a few little changes to the site. And at one point, one change made a dramatic difference in traffic. OutdoorTroop.com is a website that is just full of content. You can see here, there's 137 pages of blog posts here on the homepage. Like, it just goes on and on and on. That content was written by dozens of writers, each of those writers using either their own name or a pseudonym. There were dozens of authors on the website, each of which had written a handful of articles, but none of which really had real EAT associated with their name. What Jeff did is consolidate all of the writing under 6 names. He's borrowing my name, although Jeff, 2 S's? Come on, man. It's Kessler, K-E-S. Anyway, it's common mistake. Don't feel too bad about it, bud. Anyway, he's consolidated all of this under just 6 names. He made that change, and about a week later, tens of % increase in traffic on his website. Say what you will about EAT, say what you will about authors, but the fact that each of these authors has substantially more content written under their name than any of the individual authors that were on the site before seems to have made a dramatic difference in the rankings and the EAT of this website. All right, for this next one, I'm gonna have to ask Nate to help me out a little bit on this one again. On the Channel Maker's YouTube channel, he recently did a study on how frequently you should be publishing videos on your website. And so we're gonna ask for his help. I better go get him.
I heard my name.
Yes.
You needed me again?
I do.
Okay, where do you want me? Should I just sit over here? You want me? No? No?
You want to take my spot?
Oh, sure. I'll do that. Behold, I am in the hallowed chair. I'm in the Ricky chair. This is an epic chair. How do I get one of these?
Ask, I guess. I know a guy.
So this one obviously has to do with YouTube again. This one was interesting though, because I spent over 20 hours collecting data, analyzing over, 8,700 videos worth of data to look at, because I really wanted to answer the question, how often should you be publishing really? Really? How often should you be publishing on your YouTube channel? And what I found was crazy. First of all, just to spoil the secret, the average among all these channels was every 4.64 days. That was the average across every 4.64 days, they were publishing something, right? But what we started to see here was there was a dramatic difference between both the niche of the channel and also the style, the content mix of that channel. Typically, when we think about this, we would rank a YouTube channel on a scale between here's interest, and here is being like entertainment, interesting stuff, and here is information, just meaty, I'm gonna teach you something. And what we learned was publishing rate has to do with a mix of those two, but there's also a third factor, that being engagement, meaning how easily consumable is your content and how engaging are you, how good are you at talking to the camera, right? So when it comes to you, with your YouTube channel, your videos are somewhere in that mix of those 3 things. You got interest, information, and engagement. And the style of videos that you produce will dictate very clearly how often you should be publishing videos. If you're doing very information-heavy videos, I would say rarely, except for a brand new young channel, rarely do you want to publish more often than 1.5 times a week, because you'll fatigue your viewers. If it's so meaty and they're coming back and they're like, I couldn't watch the last 8 videos, they're going to start fatigued and they won't come back. Interest videos are much more easily consumed, but they tend to take a lot more effort to produce, which creates an issue on your part producing them. The engagement, that's like the golden factor there. If you're doing something that's just easily produced and easily consumed, you can publish every single day. And in fact, we saw people publishing every 0.79 days, like more than once a day, they're publishing videos and they had tons of views. It was crazy.
That's amazing.
So here's the scoop. If you're producing very information-heavy videos, once a week is your goal. Any more often than that, and you just have to start adding interest to it, because people are going to get fatigued with that. If you're producing more interest, there's a lot of fun and interesting or entertaining elements, then yes, you can bump that up a bit in your publishing routine. And if you're doing engagement, you can do up to once a day, although I don't know, twice a day might be a bit much. But if you're doing a lot of just vloggy, hey, this is what's going on with my life and people are interested and they want to keep watching, then you can do it once every day or 3 times a week, which is what a lot of YouTubers opt to do. And now for this next one, I'm going to put on my Ricky voice here and say that this next one is great for those of you who are looking to write shorter articles. But I'm just kidding. I'm not actually a writer. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ricky for this one.
All right, so if you want to be able to take a little bit less time writing, and we're telling you that you can write shorter articles. In fact, according to these case studies we've done and that we've seen from other members of Project 24, article length really isn't directly a ranking factor. We just talked about that. But if you think that's great news, you might want to think again. Okay, the reason for that is that we did this case study. We spent a whole summer with Tanner, one of our writers. You see, we filmed a video with him his very first day, the very first article we had him write without any training. I think he did just fine considering we hadn't given him any training. But we had him write shorter articles. And in fact, we told him to only write 2 lengths of articles, totally breaking everything that we taught before, just to test it out, just to see. Our hypothesis was, if we just tell him to pack those articles with information, but just write it in less words, that we'll be able to rank just as well. But here's what happened instead. We got the articles back, we looked them over, and the content was just thinner. There were fewer subtopics, there was less depth in the articles. When you tell someone to write 1,350 words, they pack it in with 1,350 words worth of information. They may fill it in a little bit with fluff, but generally they're going to have to go find more because they're going to get to 800 words and they're going to say, what more can I say on this topic? When you tell someone they can write 750 words, they're going to be done when they hit 750 words, even if they haven't covered the topic in depth. When you're writing pillar posts, especially when you're first starting on your website, when you're writing, response staple and pillar posts, and we tell you in a pillar post, go write like 3,500 words, you should probably go write 3,500 words. Once you really get a feel for the content and what sort of depth goes into a pillar post, what sort of depth goes into a staple, and what sort of depth goes into a response post, then I think it's safe to start backing off on word count and replacing word count with just better writing, being more concise and succinct, filling in the data with tables and using more images and infographics to display what you're talking about, maybe even filling it in with little video clips and things like that, rather than taking the time to write the text. There's a quote that's been misattributed many times. I think it probably originated with Blaise Pascal and it's French, but anyway, the quote today is, I'm going to get it totally wrong, but the essence of the quote is, I would have written a shorter letter, but I didn't have enough time. Writing your content in a more succinct way takes more effort and more time. I will not advocate for you to go write 500-word blog posts. I will advocate for you to potentially shorten the length of your blog posts, but only once you've learned what sort of depth and detail goes into writing the best content there is on the internet. Now, here's the thing. On this YouTube channel, we love you guys. You guys are so awesome. We love making videos for you. We have found that much like channel makers, the majority of our views, well over half of the views on this channel, come from subscribers. You subscribers are just amazing. And what that means is we're probably not doing as good of a job of spreading the word. So, if you guys don't mind telling your friends we're here, we'd love to have more friends. Please.